Hello everyone, and welcome back to Friday Night Magic with Kurisumon. This week we are back on MTG Arena, and we are going to be jumping into a Rivals of Ixalan draft. Now, to be honest, I'm not as familiar with this particular format as I was with Triple Ixalan. I played a lot of the Triple Ixalan format before we went to the 2 packs of Rivals and 1 pack of Ixalan. This one I only played a few times, so it could be a learning experience for all of us. So let's take a look here at our pack 1 pick 1 and figure out where we want to go from here. So we already have a pretty good rare in Kumina. It allows for card advantage. When you tap 3 Merfolk, you can tap another Merfolk to make Kumina unblockable, and then 5 Merfolk, and you can get +1/+1 counters on your entire Merfolk team. Now the downside to this card is it is 2 colors right off the gate, and it requires us to play just about any Merfolk that we find throughout the 3 packs. Other things we see here are a Luminous Bonds, which can act as a really good removal spell. We also have Cleansing Ray, which isn't too terrible if you do the vampire, if you're up against the vampire decks. Blazing Hope can be really good against some of the more big green, red, white Naya dinosaur decks. Other than those cards, I'm not really seeing a whole lot here that I want. Deadeye Righauler is pretty good in the Pirates decks. It can act kind of like a Man of War post-combat. Unfortunately, it doesn't actually clear a blocker out of the way. So I think it's actually between... Oh, and there's actually a Forerunner of the Legion here too, so another really good, strong vampire card. So I think it's actually between these 4, Kumina, Forerunner of the Legion, Deadeye Righauler, and Luminous Bonds. So again, the restrictions of the Kumina is it's already 2 colors, and it'll force us to go into Merfolk this early. Forerunner is a really good vampire card that can go fetch our best vampire from our deck. Deadeye Righauler is good no matter what strategy we end up in later if we're just blue. And Luminous Bonds, same thing. No matter what kind of white deck we end up in, it'll probably make the cut. So these 2 being a little bit more restrictive and forcing us into a path already, I think I'm going to choose between either the Deadeye Righauler or the Luminous Bonds. And I think I'm going to just take the Deadeye Righauler, mainly because passing a Forerunner of the Legion might put our person on our left into vampires, and they'll start taking more quality white cards. So I don't want to take this Luminous Bonds and have to fight over it. Although I do think Luminous Bonds is a better card than Deadeye Righauler. This is actually a pretty decent pack 1. Pick 1. 4 really good cards that could shape the rest of our draft from here on out. I'm going to take the Righauler. Alright, so pack 2, we actually can get a second Righauler. Water Knot's also a really good blue removal spell. It freezes their best creature so that doesn't untap and can't attack you back. If we're going to be kind of a red-blue pirate deck, then the Corsair isn't a bad one to take also. With Raid, it's a 3/3 for 3. Nothing too exciting, but it kind of stays on theme. There is a Merfolk in this pack, so 2 Merfolks actually. So if we had taken, actually 3 Merfolk, the Jade Bearer. If we had taken the Kumina, we would probably be taking one of those 3, and most likely it would be the Jade Bearer. I think I want to take either another Deadeye Righauler or the Water Knot. The Riverwise Augur, even though we're not actually in the Merfolk deck now because we passed the Kumina, is not a bad card. It's a 4-mana sorcery speed Brainstorm. So it's a sense of card advantage. I think I'm just going to take the other Righauler though. Alright, so here we can start making some choices. The Sky Marcher here requires us to be vampires, otherwise it costs 4. 4 mana for a 2/2 flying lifelink isn't the worst. but certainly not the body that we want to be in, and we don't want to force ourselves to start taking more vampires, especially since we passed the Forerunner earlier. We could take a Secrets of the Golden City for card advantage later. The Kitesail Corsair isn't a bad pickup either. It has flying as long as it's attacking, and it's a blue pirate, which stays on theme with what we already are. Let's see, Spirewinder has flying and ascend, so we can get the City's Blessing with it. And if we have the City's Blessing, it gets a +1, it gets +1/+1, making it a 3/4 flyer. I think I'm going to take the Corsair. What else is in this pack? So a Frillback isn't very exciting. A Hardy Veteran isn't very exciting. Neither is the Jade Amulet. Or Traveler's Amulet. Charging Tuscadon. Trample. A Charging Tuscadon would deal combat damage to a player, deals double that damage to that player instead. So this is actually pretty good as well. Even though we're not a dinosaur deck, we could end up as blue-red pirates. And this is just a good red card, no matter if you have dinosaurs or not. So I think it's actually between the Tuscadon and the Corsair. This Corsair stays on theme, like I said before. I think this Charging Tuscadon is just a better card. So let's take that. Alright, so Siegehorn Ceratops is not something we're in the market for. It's neither of those two colors are what we're in already. We're not really trying to be a dinosaur deck, even though we have a Tuscadon. We do have a couple of other red dinosaurs available to us here, just as red creatures. And then we have the Daring Buccaneer, which is a 1-drop that requires us to show an extra pirate from our hand or pay 2. There's also Legion Conquistador, which if we got multiples, it would be better. Overgrown Armasaur is also really good. And if we took that, we would start collecting red-green dinosaurs, and our first 2 picks might actually be negated. So I think it's between the Overgrown Armasaur and the Daring Buccaneer. And at this point, I think we have to make a choice as to which direction we want to go. The Armasaur is obviously better than the Buccaneer, and the Buccaneer might actually come back around. So I think I'm actually going to take the Armasaur and just see where we end up moving forward. Alright, so in this pack, we have a decently bodied blue hexproof flyer. 5 mana for a 3/2 flying hexproof creature is pretty good in limited. Crashing Tide is another Merfolk specific card. We can give it flash if we had Merfolk, otherwise it's just a 3-mana sorcery to bounce something and draw a card. Hunt the Weak is a really good green removal spell. Stampeding Horncrest is another good red dinosaur. Buccaneer's Bravado. Creature gets +1/+1 and first strike, or pirates get +1/+1 and double strike. So this is a pretty good finishing card if we are in the pirates deck. And we actually have a black pirate here, Fathom Fleetboarder. Loses 2 life unless you control a pirate. And it's just a 3/3 for 3, so nothing exciting there. I think the choices are between either Soul of the Rapids, Stampeding Horncrest, or Buccaneer's Bravado. I'm going to take the Horncrest because even if we don't end up in dinosaurs, it's another red card that goes well. That's a top-end finisher with some of our other red cards if we end up in the blue-red Pirates deck. And if we actually end up red-green dinosaurs, it fits in there too. So it's the most flexible of the 3 choices, and none of the other 2 are just that much better than this. So let's go ahead and take this. Alright, so we have Colossal Dreadmaw, which is a green dinosaur. Another Merfolk. So if we had taken the Kamina, I think we would have been flush with Merfolk in this pack 1. So Aquatic Incursion says, when it enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 Merfolk creature tokens with hexproof, and target Merfolk can't be blocked this turn. Then there's also a Negate and an Evolving Wilds. Not much going on for the red-blue pirate deck at this point in the pack. I think I'm going to take the Dreadmaw. Alright, so we have another Soul of the Rapids available to us, another Overgrown Armasaur, and a Sun-Collared Raptor. I'm going to take the Armasaur, and I think we're going to end up as red-green dinosaurs. So we can take a 3-1 Raptor Companion. That pushes us into a third color, though, and I'm not really wanting to do that, especially in pack 1. Especially since we already have 2 blue cards here. These are actually splashable too, the Deadeye Rig Haulers, and we can, I'm not saying we'd actually play them, but we could, and use it as kind of a Man of War effect to clear it, to get rid of something post-combat. This pack, though, is pretty straightforward. It's just a Sun-Collared Raptor. We'll take the Plummet. We'll take the Corsair. Frillback is a 3-mana dinosaur, so we'll go ahead and take that. We'll take the Erasca Raptor. And we'll take a Soul of the Rapids and a Shatter. Alright, so we can take a third Armasaur. I don't want to dip into white. At least not yet. The Tillinali's Summoner. Ascend. When Tillinali's Summoner attacks, you may pay red and X. If you do, create X 1/1 red elemental creature tokens that are tapped and attacking. At the beginning of the next end step, exile those tokens unless you have the city's blessing. So I think this is probably the best card in the pack. Sea Red is a really good aura. Bumps up our creatures +2/+1 and gives it first strike. And if it causes us to attack with that creature every turn, otherwise we'll have to sacrifice the enchantment. Nothing else in this pack, I think, really fits into what we're trying to do. So I'm going to take the Summoner. This pack is pretty weak for us. There's a lot of white and black cards, which it's none of our 3 colors, even our blue splash. There is a Knight of the Stampede, which reduces the cost of our dinosaurs, and there's a Hunt the Weak, which is a really good green removal spell. Let's see, so most of our creatures are dinosaurs, except for our blue ones, I think, at this point. The Summoner isn't, but everything else is. I'm going to take the Knight of the Stampede and hope that we get a Hunt the Weak somewhere else. This just creates fast mana for us and lets us get to our bigger dinosaurs earlier in the game, which is where our the real power of our deck is going to be. So let's take that. Alright, so we can get a third Armasaur, a Brazen Freebooter. So when she enters the battlefield, create a treasure, and it's a 3/3 for 4, so it's not a very good body for the exchange. There is a Divine Verdict here, which we could splash, especially since we're running light on removal right now. And then there's always the third Armasaur. I think I'm going to take the Divine Verdict. This is splashable all on its own, and white does have some good dinosaurs, so we may end up taking some at some point. Yep, let's take the Divine Verdict. Here there's another Horncrest. This one's actually a really good reason to dip into the white version, or white portion of dinosaurs. Majestic Heliopterus, it jumps a guy in combat, so all of our bigger guys get a lot better with him on the board. Imperial Ceratops, not so much. Exultant Sky Marcher is really good if we were in the black-white vampire decks. So I think I'm going to take the Majestic Heliopterus. We could take a Woodland Stream to keep our Deadeye Rig Hauler splashes alive, although at this point I think we're going to splash white instead. We're not in the market for a Freebooter, so the only thing I can see us taking in this pack is this Dreadmaw. We already have one, but top ending is what Dinosaurs does, so that's, I think, the best option for us out of these remaining cards in this pack. And we have the choice of another Armasaur, Sun-Collared Raptor, which we might take because our curve is is a little bit high right now. We actually only have one 3-drop, so I'm looking for more 3-drops as we go along. And we currently only have two 2-drops. Let's take the Raptor. So this is the Pirate Forerunner. We're not in Pirates anymore. We don't want any of these things, although Moment of Craving is a really good removal spell. We don't want the Buccaneer's Bravado. We don't want a Firebrand, so let's take the Erasca Raptor. Alright, so here's a really good 3-drop Frilled Death Spitter. Not only is it a dinosaur, but it's a 3/2 body, so the exchange rate is good, and its enrage ability is also pretty decent. At the worst, we block and kill something on their side and shock them in the process. There are 2 other dinosaurs here, but they're white, and I don't want to spend white mana this early in the game off of our splash. So I think the best option for us is this Frilled Death Spitter. It fills a niche for us at the 3-drop position, since we only have one 3-drop right now, and its ability is obviously better than a creature with no ability, and this creature that we're probably not going to ever be able to cast on turn 1 anyway. So there's another Snubhorn Sentry, River Darter, a Shatter, and 3 kind of irrelevant black cards. Guess we'll just stay on theme and take the dinosaur, though I'm pretty sure we won't be playing it. This is actually a somewhat tough pick. We can take the Crested Pterodon here, which is okay. It is a white dinosaur, so it stays on theme. It's an okay body at 2/5, and it flies. It can also have Vigilance if we have other dinosaurs, which we will, because just about everything in our deck right now is a dinosaur. But I think I'm actually going to take this Stone Quarry. It's a red land that also produces white for our splash. And right now I only have us playing 2 white cards. So these kind of dual lands, either this one or a green-white one, are the kind of things that we're looking for our splash. That'll also reduce the amount of planes we have to play, if any. So let's take the Stone Quarry. Alright, nothing really in this pack for us. I don't really know which of these is actually the best card for limited. We'll just go ahead and just take the rare. We'll take a Horncrest. We'll take a Cleansing Ray. And a Gruesome Fate. Alright. So Gishath Sun's Avatar is our mythic from this pack. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, reveal that many cards from the top of your library. Put any number of dinosaur creatures from among them onto the battlefield, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So the other options here, we have a Steadfast Armosaur and a Grazing Whiptail, 3/4 for 4 with reach. There's also a Sun-Crowned Hunters. So it lightning bolts our opponent every time it gets enraged. But none of these dinosaurs are as good as this one. So not only is it a dinosaur that fits into our theme that we already have, but it's incredibly powerful if it actually gets to go off. Alright, so here's a Commune with Dinosaurs, which allows us to search up any of our creatures from, most of our creatures from our deck. A Captivating Crew is also really good. I know it's not a dinosaur, but being able to have a threaten effect on a stick and take our opponent's best creatures just about every turn is a really powerful thing to do in Limited. Threaten effects just on their own at sorcerer speed one-shots can be pretty powerful. Then there's also a Pterodon Knight, which has flying as long as we control a dinosaur. Again, I don't want to be dipping too much into the white, so I think the pick here is between Commune with Dinosaurs and the Captivating Crew. Captivating Crew is just such a powerful effect. Even though this is a source of card advantage, the odds of something like a Commune with Dinosaurs coming back around is a lot higher than something like a Captivating Crew. And I do like to have these kind of effects in a deck where we're just kind of bashing through with large creatures. Especially one where we don't seem to be very removal heavy at the moment. So this, at the very least, can clear a blocker. So that's what I'm going to take. Alright, so we do have a Sky Terror, which is a small flying dinosaur with menace. And then there's a territorial Hammer Skull, which is one of the best dinosaurs you can have in your deck, and one of the main reasons to splash the white if we wanted to. I don't really see much else in this pack that we would want, and this is definitely better than the Sky Terror, so if we're going to take a white dinosaur, it should be this one. Being able to tap a creature on the other side during combat is very important. Like I've been saying throughout this entire draft, we're very removal light, and being able to remove blockers for our larger creatures is going to be a big deal for us. So let's take the Hammer Skull. Alright, so we're just getting all of the really good white dinosaurs in the Ixalan pack now. There is another Sun Crown Hunters, which is obviously really good, being able to Lightning Bolt our opponent whenever it gets enraged. Bellowing Aegisaur pumps our team when he gets enraged. Goring Ceratops, whenever he attacks, all of our other creatures get double strike. Since we are splashing the white, it's going to be very difficult for us to cast something like this. Plus, on the top end, there's other creatures I'd rather play. So I think... Well, there's also a Kinjali's Collar, which reduces the cost of our dinosaurs. Unfortunately, it's a white 1-drop, and us not really being in that particular type of... not going very heavily white, I'm not sure this is the right pick. Although it could be, we could just maybe play more white spells. But I think it's between either the Sun Crown Hunters and the Bellowing Aegisaur. So they're both 6 mana. The Hunter is a little bigger as a 5/4 compared to a 3/5. Again, I don't really want to dive too much into the white, so I'm going to take the Hunter. I just want to keep our splash as minimal as possible. Now obviously if these kind of cards come back around in this pack, which is quite possible, I'd be happy to take one of them. But trying to keep the number of white cards in our deck down, I think means we should probably take this Hunter. There's also a Frenzied Raptor, which is another 3-drop, which is something we're lacking on. We have 3 currently, and at the moment I'm not sure we're playing this Corsair. We could also take a Blossom Dryad, which allows us to ramp at the 3-mana position. We have 5 5-drops, 2 6-drops, and an 8-drop. So we are pretty hefty on the top end. I'm going to take this Dryad. We need to be able to ramp, I think, a little bit. So here's a Tillinolly's Knight. Whenever it attacks, if we control the dinosaur, it gets +1/+1. So this is a pretty good card for us early on. There's also this other 3-drop Frenzied Raptor. It's just a 4/2 vanilla dinosaur, but it is a 3-drop dinosaur. But I think the Knight is just the better pick. Ancient Brontodon, 8 mana for a 9/9 vanilla dinosaur. Let's see, Ryle deals 1 damage to target creature you control. That creature gains trample. So this is an enrage trigger. It also draws us a card, so it replaces itself in our hand. And most of our guys that have enrage are fairly large, so the trample is actually pretty relevant. Let's take the Ryle. Alright, so Pounce is a pretty good pickup. It's a really good green removal spell that allows us to kill something with our larger creatures. Sure Strike isn't bad either for combat tricks, but I'm going to take the Pounce. Alright, Spike-tailed Ceratops can block an additional creature each combat. So at 5 mana, we're already pretty hefty, but I think this is the way we have to go. I don't think we want another Dreadmaw. We already have 2. We're probably only going to play 1. So let's take the Ceratops. Alright, so in this pack we can get a Whiptail or the Hunter. I'm going to stay a little lower and take the 4-drop since our 5s and 6s are pretty stout. Plus we don't have many ways to deal with flyers at the moment. So let's take the Whiptail. Alright, so this is the pack with the Commune with Dinosaurs. The Commune with Dinosaurs did come back. There's nothing else in the pack that we would even remotely want over that. So let's take Commune with Dinosaurs. Alright, Sky Terror is a 2-drop dinosaur, but it's going to be tough for us to cast on turn 2. We don't really want either of these blue or black cards. This we might not play, but it does help us with our splash if we need to. So let's take the Unknown Shores. Alright, so in that pack that we passed earlier, where we took the Blossom Dryad, we did get the Kinjali's Collar and the Suncrown Hunter back. I'm not really sure what the best course of action is here. We are really top heavy, so taking another 6-drop might not be the best plan. This makes for fast mana and allows us to play our things earlier, but it does dip into the white a little heavier than I would like. I'm not sure how often we'd ever be able to play this on our first couple of turns because it's just a splash color. So I think what I want to do is take a Suncrown Hunter, but that's just kind of a preference pick at the moment. I think the Kinjali's Collar as a card, its effect would be a lot better in our deck than the Suncrown Hunter. But the Suncrown Hunter doesn't force us to play more lands of a color right away, to cast the Collar right away on our early turns. We've had so many opportunities to take a Suncrown Hunter and we've passed it up so many times. And I do think the Collar in our deck is just a better effect. No, you know what? I'm going to take the Hunter. I just can't. I don't think we'd ever be able to play this in a early enough turn most of the time for it to actually matter. So let's take the Hunter. Alright, so Emergent Growth is actually a pretty good pickup for us. It allows us to pump up our guy, +5/+5, and put in a type of allure effect on him, which will ambush a lot of our opponent's creatures. And it also clears the way if we wanted to Alpha Strike for the win or to get in for a certain amount of damage. Crushing Canopy, destroy target creature with flying, or destroy target enchantment. This kind of card is actually really good in the quick draft format. Simply because there's not going to be any sideboarded games, so every now and then you'll see a card, a type of enchantment that just might be beating you to death, but because there's no sideboarding, you don't get a chance to do anything about it and bring in a card like this to take care of it. So you have to play a card like this main, and the fact that it's flexible on both flyers and enchantments, something we'd actually be kind of weak against. Also makes this a good pickup right now. I think I'm just going to take the Emergent Growth, though. It just kind of fits with our game plan of big, bruising, bashing creatures. And then we got an Ancient Brontodon, 8-drop, 9/9 dinosaur, which we probably will not play. Alright, so let's start building our deck. Everything is clear here for the moment. I like to go through the cards that we picked and just kind of go through them by converted mana cost, starting with the creatures. That way I can see where our curve is going to end up and what kind of holes I need to fill later on. This is the same way I would approach a Paper Magic. The only difference is that I can't sort these as well as I could if I was playing Paper Magic. But let's go ahead and get started here. So 1-drops, I don't think we have any 1-drops we wanted to play. We passed on the white Banneret type creature that would reduce our costs. So we don't have any 1-drop creatures. 2-drop creatures. None in white. We do have a Tillinolly's Knight, which is a really good 2-drop. We have the Tillinolly's Summoner, which is a good 2-drop. And the 2 Sun Raptors, or Sun-Collared Raptors. And in green, we don't have any 2-drop green creatures. Alright, so for 3 drops, we definitely want to play the Hammer Skull. We definitely want to play the Death Spitter. I think we definitely want to play the Blossom Dryad, even though it's not a dinosaur. Is that it for 3 drops? So we could play this Corsair. I don't think we want to. I'm going to go ahead and put this Erasca Frill back in. I don't know if we're going to play it. Actually, I'm going to hold off. I'm going to hold off. I'm going to see where we are with all of our dinosaurs as we move forward. Alright, so 4 drops. We're just going to have to be a little heavy, I think. 4 drops. We definitely want the Heliopterus. And this Erascoraptor's pretty good. So it's Captivating Crew. 4-drop dinosaurs. The Whiptail's really good. We definitely want the Knight of the Stampede. Alright, so that leaves us with... We're at 13 creatures already. So our spots are actually going to be pretty tough moving forward. We may end up having to cut some of our lower end stuff, maybe from the 2-drop section. So 5 drops. None in white. In red we have the Tuscadon and 2 Stampeding Horncrest. I think I'm going to play one of each at the moment. For green we have the Armasaur and the Ceratops. I don't know if we're going to play the second Armasaur or not. 6 drops. I think we definitely want to play one each of the Hunter and the Dreadmaw. And then we definitely want to play this Gishath. So that gives us 20 creatures. Let's see, where are we at with our spells? I definitely want to play Commune with Dinosaurs. I definitely want to play Divine Verdict. And I definitely want to play Pounce. So this could actually just be our deck right now. I think I'm actually going to cut one of these Sun-Collared Raptors. The Tilinali Knight is a 3/3, doesn't require us to pump any more mana into it with the rest of our deck. And Tilinali Summoner, even though it's not a dinosaur, just has a really powerful effect that can take over the game. So I'm going to cut one of these Sun-Collared Raptors, and I am going to play either the second Overgrown Armasaur or the Emergent Growth. We could also play a Stampeding Horncrest. This is also the kind of deck where we might actually play 41 cards, so 18 lands. We already have quite a bit of double red and double green stuff going on, plus this Naya-colored Mythic Rare. So this actually makes our color needs pretty dire on most turns. We have to be able to use our mana efficiently, and loading up on a bunch of double-colored spells like Overgrown Armasaur I don't think is the way to do it in a 3-color deck. If we had cut the white altogether, it might have been fine. Let's see, so if we didn't play... So the Hammerscore and the Heliopterus are 2 of our best cards. So I don't want to cut the white. So I think I'm going to play Emergent Growth. It just kind of goes it goes really well with what we're trying to do already. The Armasaur is probably a better card, but more mana intensive in its color restrictions. Let's play the Emergent Growth. Alright, for lands, I think I'm definitely gonna play the Stone Quarry. I think I am gonna play this Unknown Shores. And then let's look at our other distributions here. So we could play, this is 17 lands. I think I actually do want to play 18 lands. We have currently 4 sources of white mana for our 1, 2, 3, 4 white spells that we're splashing. I think because of how intensive our color requirements are on our red and green, especially later on with the double red and double green spells, I'm going to play 1 extra forest. And that puts us to 41 cards. So we have 8, 9 sources of red, 7, 8 sources of green, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 sources of white. I think that's going to work. Alright, let's sleeve this up and see how it does. Alright, so we're on the play. We have green and white mana in our hands, no red mana, so we can't play our 2-drop, and pretty heavy hand. I don't think we can keep this. It requires us to draw at least 1 land to turn anything on, and at that point the only thing we can play is this Hammer Skull. This would require running mountains to play, and everything else is kind of top end. So I think we have to throw this one back. Alright, so 3 sources of red, 1 source of white. We got the Hammer Skull back in our hand, and then 2 green cards. So this is not a good way to start our draft. I think I'm going to keep this one because I don't want to go down to 5, and just hope that we draw some forests. Double green also means that it has to be runner-runner forests. So maybe actually I do need to just throw this one back. No, let's take a chance and keep it. I'm going to see how far we can go with just the Hammer Skull, and hopefully we draw out of it in some way or another, either with some red or white creatures, or we just start drawing forests. So that is neither a green land or a cheap red creature, so let's throw that away. We'll start off with our quarry and pass the turn. So our opponent is playing black. They're going to duress us and be very sad. They get nothing from us at the moment, but they do see that we're stuck on green cards. So we'll play our mountain and pass. This Plains is the only hidden card we have from them at the moment. So blue-black, maybe some sort of pirate deck. We're just going to go ahead and play the Hammer Skull. So it doesn't look to have any 2-mana removal spells. And then next turn we'll be able to play the Raptor. So they're going to draw 2 cards off of Secrets of the Golden City. Alright, so here's a Whiptail, another double green creature that we can't play. So let's go to combat and attack. We'll play our land and the Erasca Raptor. Hopefully we start chaining off some forests, or we could be in some pretty bad shape here. They're going to duress us again, and they're going to whiff again, but they do see that we're just stuck on green cards at the moment. Alright, so Dark Inquiry, they're going to get rid of our Whiptail. We're just going to swing for 5 here. And I don't know if we want to play the land or hold it back. They keep making us discard a lot of cards, so let's just play it. They know it's in our hand. I guess we could have held it back in case they duressed again to see what the extra card was. Alright, so they made us discard everything. Alright, now we're going to hold it back. So they're going to draw 2 cards and create a treasure. So they still have 3 mana available. Blightkeeper. Target opponent, if you pay 8 mana, which they currently have. Although I think this just wins. So we'll play the Horncrest. We'll go to combat. And we'll take the victory. So even though we got stuck on our green cards and couldn't play them, we were still able to come out on top. I don't expect that to happen too often, especially since the white is just our splash anyway. But you can see the power of Hammer Skull there, tapping down their only blocker, and then the hasted creature in the Horncrest finishing up the job. Alright, so already just looking at our lands, a much better distribution of colors. We can play this Telanali's Knight on turn 2. We can Divine Verdict later if we need to. We have Captivating Crew. It still requires us to draw some amount of lands, but I feel like this is a pretty decent keep. And the odds of us drawing some form of dinosaurs to play on turns 3 and 4 are fairly high with this deck. So we're going to go ahead and keep this. Plus being on the draw gives us extra chances to do so. Alright, so we'll lead off with the Quarry. Then I think we'll play the Knight. So right now we're at 4 lands. We can play everything in our hand except for the Armasaur. We can't attack through the ranging raptors at the moment, so no attacks. This could be a huge blowout with Emergent Growth, because they might place some sort of 3 or 4 drop right now, and then pumping our guy to 7 might be enough to take care of everything on the board. So they're going to be able to get a land. And get another land maybe. So they got the Thrashing Brontodon. They put it away. I can't imagine they wouldn't want to swing with it. We are not going to block that. Alright, so there's another source of green. I think I'm going to play the forest. I'm going to attack for 2. And pass the turn. They did hold back 1 green. I don't know what tricks are in this format for 1 green. I'd have to think about that. Alright, so they have their own Knight of the Stampede. And then they're going to cast Commune with Dinosaurs. So they seem to be on a very similar plan to us. They got a Tali, which is pretty good. So they're going to be able to cast any number of non-land cards exiled this way without paying their mana cost. So they'll get to do that each turn as long as it's attacking. From the top of both of our decks, that is a really strong card. I don't know if we can beat it, but we're going to have to see. So they are attacking. We're going to Divine Verdict that 2-for-1s. They can't, unless they draw red, they can't play this yet. So we can also Emergent Growth if we need to kill it. So let's play our Armasaur here. When it attacks, if we control a dinosaur, it gets +1/+1. Still not enough to get through the Stampede, so we are not going to attack. So no red mana yet. So the Temple Altasaur, if a source would deal damage to another dinosaur control, prevent all but 1 of that damage. So that's going to be tough to deal with. No blockers. So all they have left is the Itali. The only way we can kill the Itali is if we get rid of this Temple Altasaur. So I think we have to Emergent Growth now before they can play Itali. We could also just play Captivating Crew and steal stuff as we move along. So next turn we'll have 7 mana, cost 4 to activate this, 4 to cast this. I think I just want to kill the Altasaur now. And then we'll attack with everything. They have to block with the Altasaur. That's also going to provide us with a blocker because of Enrage on the Armasaur. So no red mana. Alright, so still just the Knight of the Stampede. Alright, so we have 7 mana here. We can play the Tuscadon and the Raptor. We'll attack with our Armasaur and our Knight. If they block the Armasaur, they'll... let's see. Does it give him first strike? No, just trample. So we'll attack with both of those. They can kill the Knight. Yep. Nope, they're going to kill the Armasaur. Alright, so we'll get a Saproling. They lose both of their cards. Now I think The best thing for us would be to... We can either play... We're definitely playing the Sun-Collared Raptor. Tuscadon or Captivating Crew. I'm going to play the Tuscadon, I think. It just represents the most amount of damage. Actually, they're both the same as far as power goes, but this one actually does represent the most amount of damage. And if they do somehow top deck a mountain, which they don't. Alright, so now we can play Captivating Crew. I think we're going to swing with everything here. Let's see, I need 4 mana left. I got 7, so that's fine. Does the Atali have haste? No, it does not. Alright, so we got there again. A little unfortunate that our opponent was stuck on only one red source, but I think with the hand we had, we might have been able to get through that, even if they were able to play Tali. The Alta Sword that they played right before it was a problem, and we had to get rid of that in order to deal with the Atali. And we might have played the Threaten guy earlier if they had been able to get Atali on the board. That way we could steal it and just get through. Alright, so we are on the play. Mountain and plains, lots of green creatures, nothing we can play. We have to throw this back. So our mana base is a little shaky. We may have wanted to reduce the number of white lands that we played, but I'm not entirely sure. Alright, so we're going to get a scry off of this. I think I'm going to keep it. Any land gets us a Death Spitter. Hopefully it's a green land and we can commune with the dinosaurs. That also gets us a little bit closer to Knight of the Stampede, which helps a lot in reducing our costs. I don't think a 5-card hand will be much better than this, even though we only have one of our colors at the moment. So let's keep. That is not a land of any kind, so we're going to throw that to the bottom. Alright, play a mountain and pass the turn. That is fantastic. So we're going to play out the forest, and we're going to cast Commune with Dinosaurs. Alright, so we can take Gishath, or we can take our 3rd color, or one of these other 2 lands. Gishath is really powerful, but I want to be able to cast the spells in our hand. So I'm going to take... I think I might take the forest, since we already have a 2nd mountain. It might also be correct to just take the plains here. Let's take the forest. Alright, Pillar of Origins. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana to cast a creature spell of the chosen type, Dinosaur. So blue-green dinosaurs. That is interesting. Alright, so here's our white source. I do want to get this Death Spitter on the battlefield, so we're going to have to hold off on this for a second. But let's play the forest that they know about. And then the Death Spitter. And pass the turn. And depending on what we draw next turn, we'll probably go with this Knight of the Stampede. That gets us 1 turn closer to the Dreadmaw here. And there we have an untapped white source if we need it later on. So let's attack. Let's cast our Knight of the Stampede and pass the turn. So our Dreadmaw we can actually play next turn, which will allow us to play our Stone Quarry without interfering with our development. Let's see. So Dreadmaw And Quarry, if you have City's Blessing, is +1/+1. Right now they're at 6 permanents. So let's go to combat and attack with the Death Spitter. They're going to take the 3. We're going to play the Dreadmaw and our Quarry tapped. We could have actually played the Unknown Shores and cast the Hammer Skull this turn, which would clear the way moving forward. But just big bodies, I think, getting in the way are going to be better. Plus, this is a 1-drop, so it allows us to play most of what else we find off the top here. Like this. So I think I'm just going to attack with the Dreadmaw, and then play the Hammer Skull, and then next turn we can Horncrest. So that puts them to 8. I'll play the Hammer Skull, and the Unknown Shores, and the Horncrest should be really good for next turn as kind of a finishing creature. Alright, so the Aegisaur. Let's see, so if we tap the Aegisaur and swing all out with our guys, they have to block here. I think they have to block here. That gives them 5, 6, 7. And if they block the Death Spitter, that's an extra 3. I think that's the way we have to go. All right. So this could put them to 1. We're going to lose, I think, 1 creature in this exchange. They could kill the Hammer Skull. Well, they can't kill the Hammer Skull. They have to block the Horncrest, otherwise they die. Alright, then we'll just pass the turn. So they have 5 colors here. Alright, so our opponent decided that they had enough. Our board was a little too much for them to deal with, and we just keep rolling along. We are on the play. Red and green lands. We have 2 2-drops, and then 3 and 4 drops. So we do have to draw some number of lands, but I think this is probably the best opening hand we've seen so far. So let's keep it. Lead off with our mountain. Alright, perfect. So we drew a 3rd land, and it's our splash color. So let's go with the forest and the sun-collared raptor. Alright, so if we want to kill this Queen's Bay Soldier, or attack through it, we'd have to spend our mana to pump it this turn. We'd actually lose our creature in the process. I think I just want to keep developing our board, so let's go with this 3 mana Death Spitter and pass the turn. Now, Emergent Growth could be a huge blowout this turn, depending on what they play. Let's see, so I actually think I just want to play this Knight of the Stampede and pass. Alright, so there's our opponent's second color. Looks like there's some sort of vampire pirate deck. So this only cost us 6 now. They are tapped out. If I play this on the Death Spitter, let's see, what would be the best creature to lose? So they can do 7 back. This puts whoever it is 2/7. We only have to deal 5 to kill everybody. I think I'm going to play Emergent Growth on the Sun-Colored Raptor and then attack with everybody. Let's see, make sure they don't have... when it deals damage to a dinosaur, destroy it. So it was whichever one was dying either way. No abilities, just a flyer. So we only have to deal 5. They all have to block here. Actually, only one of them has to block. I'm sorry, I misread that card. That was my mistake. I thought it was a lure effect where it made them do all of it. Knight of the Stampede is gone. Alright, let's cast Commune. Let's get the mountain. And play the Araska Raptor. Alright. Lots of removal. Alright, let's play the Summoner. Let's play a Blossoming Dryad. That gets us to 6 mana, so we're still 2 away from Gishath. No blockers. Okay, so Luminous Bonds on the Summoner. They don't have any other pirates. Let's see. We'll pounce on the flyer. We're still 2 mana short. Alright, Queen's Agent. Lifelink. When Queen's Agent enters the battlefield, explores. 3/3. Alright, so if we go to 2 on the attack here. Is that much difference than going to 4? Yes, that's a big difference. So we are going to block. We're going to block the Chupacabra. We'll take 3, go to 4. And let's see. So that is 7. We actually die. Alright, so that was my fault for not reading the card correctly, thinking it was some sort of lure effect that actually brought all of them in on that one creature. Not a whole lot going on with this hand, but we do have plenty of lands. Not much early action. I don't know what a 6-card hand would look like or if it would be better. But we don't have anything until turn 4. which in this format can be pretty bad. It's not the fastest of formats, but it's also not... You don't really want to be doing your first play on turn 4 in any limited format. So I think I'm going to throw it back. Alright, I guess that's somewhat worse. We still don't have anything until turn 4. It was the same creature anyway. Now we're down to 3 lands instead of 4. This time I think we have to keep it. Another 4-drop, even though it's a really good one, but we're going to pass that. We need lands and early creatures now. Argyle's Bloodfast. And we just keep having to play lands and pass the turn. Yep, draw a card. Spirewinder. Let's play this Araska Raptor. Squire's Devotion is pretty good. Alright, so there is our third color. Let's see, so if we attack, they can attack back for 4. They do have lifelink, so we do have to keep the pressure on. Let's play the Armasaur this turn. Heliopterus, so they can jump their guys in combat. Alright, so we're going to play a Plains. That gets us to 6 mana. We're still 2 away. Let's see. So if we played the Emergent Growth, it doesn't kill the Heliopterus. I really want to kill the Spirewinder, even though this jumps guys. We can deal with him later, I think. Do we want to attack? I guess we do want to attack, don't we? Alright, so they're gonna block the Raptor. Gain a life off of it, go to 19. We're gonna pass the turn. Alright, so we have to Divine Verdict this guy. Don't know if they have any way to save it. They don't. We're gonna take 2. Let's see what they play this turn. They're going to draw a card. Alright, so that's 7 mana. I think we just keep on getting in there. Right now we're ahead in the damage race. Looks like they're going to try to kill something. They got their own Divine Verdict. They'll take 3. We'll play another Araska Raptor. Alright, Vampire Revenant. Territorial Hammerskull. So if we played Emergent Growth on one of our creatures, they have to block with one of theirs. Then we Blossom Dryad, which should guarantee us the 8 mana next turn. We'd take 4 on the crackback, go to 5. We'd have to see where that puts us. We can't block it because of the Heliopterus. Do we attack with both? I think so. They can't block the non-growth raptor. Oh, they actually blocked with that. Okay. Well, we're just going to play our Dryad and hope we get there. Okay. They're going to put us to 5. Excuse me, they put us to 4. Alright, so if we played the Gishath and swung all out, they have 2 flyers. If we hit our 2 reach guys, we'd be pretty good. Or hit any of our reach guys, would be pretty good. They can only block 2 of it, so we get to look at least 5. This is 8 damage, puts them to 3. Actually, does this just win? I don't know, let's find out. I don't think there's any reason to not hold back, because they can just, they have lethal in the air anyway. So they're going to Moment of Craving the Dryad. This is the only way they can kill something and gain life. I still think we have to attack with everything. So if they block the 2 raptors, they'll gain 2 life, go to 15. We're dealing 7, but we get to look at 7 cards and put all the dinosaurs into play. So that's a flying dinosaur. I can't believe we only hit 1 dinosaur out of 7 cards. That is ridiculous. At least it was a flyer. They're going to go down to 6 off of the Bloodfast. And go down to 4. They played a land. If they can kill our... Nope, they're going to go down to 2. So looking for a way to kill our flyer. And they're just going to kill themselves. Alright, so Gishath is really good. Alright, we're on the play. We have 2 lands. We can play our knight, and then not much else going on after that. We need some white. I don't know if we should mulligan this or not. It's pretty top-heavy. It requires us to draw quite a few lands. Let's keep it. Say hello to our opponent, because they said hello while we were looking at our hand. Alright, so there is a 3-drop dinosaur. Hopefully we draw a land. Either a white source or a red source, I think, is what we want at this point. Okay, so Raptor Companion. That is a green source. Not much going on there. We are going to make it bigger in case they want to block. They do. So we'll trade our 2-drop for their 2-drop. Alright, so again, we want a mountain or a plains. We didn't get either. Now we just have to pass the turn. So they have Imperial Aerosaur. So a lot of dinosaur decks in this draft. Let's see. Another target creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains flying until end of turn. I'm going to attack again. Let's see if they block. They do not, so we'll pass. Crested Herd Caller. Enters, get a 3/3 dinosaur with trample. Alright, so there's a mountain. Our only option this turn is the raptor. So we'll attack, see if they block with anything. They may just take it and hope to get through 9. We probably should have just held back the other mountain. That way they think we're still stuck. Alright, so we got an Raptor. Alright, Overgrown Armosaur. They're just attacking for 3. Alright, so Sun-Colored Raptors are only play this turn. No attacks. We're going to lose to the Aerosaur if we don't start getting into the damage race ourselves. Right now we're ahead. If they just attack with Aerosaur, they'll be on par with us. I will probably double block this Armosaur. Alright, so just those 2. We could block here. That's exactly 4. If they have some sort of pump, then we'll lose both of our guys. And we won't kill it. If we double block with the Raptor and the Death Spitter, that's 6 damage, so they have to pump to 2. And they can still only kill one of our guys. Yeah, let's do that. Actually, let's triple block. They can kill 2 guys, but they might leave us with the Raptor back. Alright, so they decided to only kill the 1. We took the 3. Now they're going to play some big, huge monster. Nope, just a Sun Sentinel. And a Raptor Companion, so they're flooding the board here. Not a whole lot we can do. We just have to pass the turn. I don't know if we dead, so I can block a 3 and this 3, take 1, 2, 3, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, puts us to 2. These both have trample actually, so puts us to 1. Yep. So any kind of pump and we die. So I think we just have to block here and here, because that's what kills 2 guys on their side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10 from trample. Go to damage. We'll do 2 back. This game is over though. There's no way we can deal with 4, probably most likely 5 creatures on our next turn, even if we do draw a land. Yeah. So we can't even block this guy. So, good game. Alright, so 4 lands. We got a Blossoming Dryad turn 3, Knight of the Stampede on turn 4, or a Captivating Crew on turn 4. We can play all of them right now. Let's keep this. Start with our mountain. Dusk Legion Zealot. So they take a life. Yep, we'll take 1. Deadeye Tormentor. When he enters the battlefield, if you attacked with a creature, target opponent discards a card. Let's... I don't want to discard any of these cards. Let's discard the Heliopterus. So I probably have no... Let's see, do I want to... No blockers. We get to make a treasure. So we can play... We have 5 mana this turn, it doesn't matter. Let's just get this Whiptail out there. And pass the turn. We'll probably block now with our Dryad, depending on what they play. Alright, so they're going to vanquish the weak on our Whiptail. So we can take 5 and kill the Zealot, unless they have Sure Strike. Sure Strike would be a pretty big blowout, but I don't think we can afford to take 6. Because next turn we're going to Knight of the Stampede. Let's see. Yeah, let's block the Zealot. Okay, so no tricks. They still have 3 mana. They're going to get the Zealot back off of Recover. That's fine. Much rather than get that back than something better. Alright, so we're at 6 mana now. So if I cast... I can cast the Knight of the Stampede. And the Sun-Collared Raptor. And I don't even have to use the Dryad. Alright, let's see if they're going to attack. Let's see. I don't mind. Let's see, let's block the Tormentor and double block the Freebooter. And they have to have some sort of spell, right? Nope. Alright, they just have a raid deck. They just want to keep doing their stuff. Okay, so they're still going to kill the... That's fine. I think I'm just going to pass the turn and hold back Divine Verdict. Man, lots of raid creatures. Lots and lots of raid creatures. Alright, let's play the Armasaur. Captivating Crew is good, but it doesn't outclass the Pyromancer on blocks. Alright, so Dusk Legion Zealot, they're going to take a life and draw a card. Dust Charger. It's +2/+2 if you have the City's Blessing. I think I'm going to... So let's pounce. Here and here. We'll get a Saproling. And then let's play the Tilonalius Summoner. No attacks. So they were at 8. So a land and another and another play would get them City's Blessing and make it a 5/5. Alright, so Unfriendly Fire, we'll get a Saproling. Okay. They spent a lot of mana clearing our board. So now we're going to play Captivating Crew. And no attacks. We'll block with our 2 Saprolings. They must have some other raid trigger they wanted to do. Yep. Alright, so let's play this Suncrown Hunter and pass the turn. And then next turn we should be able to start getting in there with their own guys. We're still not out of the woods yet. They've gone through a lot of cards to kill our board. So there's a land. Excellent. So we can play this Dreadmaw. Let's play the Dreadmaw and hold off one more turn on the Captivating Crew. I like advancing our board as much as... Oh, and our opponent's had enough. Alright, so 2 lands. We have 3 2-drops. We do need to draw some lands to turn on the rest of our hand, but again, I think this is a pretty decent one to keep. Especially being on the draw. Gives us extra chances to draw that extra land. And there's a land right there. So we'll probably go with the, depending on what they play, we'll probably go with the Knight. And then we'll play the Sun-tailed Raptor, or Sun-collared Raptor. They're communing with dinosaurs, so they're either looking for a land or some sort of creature for a 3 or 4 drop. Relentless Raptor. Vigilance. Relentless Raptor attacks or blocks each combat if able. Sure. And there is a mountain. Alright. We're going to play our Knight. We can play a Sun-collared Raptor to turn on the Knight next turn, or any of the 3-drop dinosaurs that we have, if we draw them. Yep, so our Knight's going to trade with this guy. It has to block. So we're trading 2 drops for 2 drops. Hopefully we draw a land, although I think our play next turn, unless it's a white source of mana, I think our play next turn is Blossom Dryad either way. Okay, so throwback. So lots of Naya Dinosaur decks in this particular draft. I'm going to play the Blossom Dryad. And then pass the turn. So our opponent is drawing all of their mana. We are not. At this point, we want mountains or plains. We need sources of red mana and sources of white mana. So they still have 4 mana. Heliopterus, yep. We just have to play our summoner and pass. Actually, I guess we could have cast the Knight of the Stampede. A little distracted from being on tilt a little bit from not being able to draw lands. We're a very long way away from our Gishath. I'm assuming there he's going to attack. And jump his frill back. So now it's my turn. Okay, so we have 5 mana. Dinosaurs cost 1 less. Actually, the dinosaurs will cost 2 less. So I think we actually have to play this. So that'll get us to 5, 6, 7. Any land turns on Gishath. And if not, we have other stuff we can do. And then I think we swing with everybody else. Maybe there's like a haste guy. I'm not, we're definitely swinging with the Dryad because I don't want to block with the Dryad. 6, 5, the haste guy is 4 and 5. So we're just going to hit them for 4 here. And let's see if we draw a land. If not, we can cast a few creatures next turn. We should be able to cast our Majestic Heliopterus and our Erasca. Alright, so they're going to search their library for a land and put it into play tapped. Yep, they're still going to get in for 6. Can't do anything about it. Alright, so we're at 8 now. Alright. So we can't play Gishath. We have 5 mana. We can't play both the Raptor and the Death Spitter. So I do know we have to play the Heliopterus to live. Or to make sure that we don't die. I think I want to play the Raptor because it's, well, it's the same amount, and this has Enrage. And that way we don't have to tap our Dryad to cast it. We can attack with our Dryad this turn. Alright, so combat. So we're at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have the city's blessing, so our little 1/1s don't go away anymore. Alright, let's attack with those three. Maybe some timing issues here. Maybe I missed my chance to actually untap the red to pay for that. Okay, that's fine. Alright, so they could kill us, maybe. I'll probably block. Yep. I'm gonna block the Heliopterus. We'll take 4. Alright, so we're at 5 mana still. Let's commune with dinosaurs. Let's view the battlefield. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's take the charging Tuscadon. Alright, we're going to go to combat. We're going to attack with these three. Actually, I'm going to hold the Death Spitter back. Just in case they have some sort of haste creature. So we're going to add red. We're going to untap that, add red again. And the white. Cast our Tuscadon. Alright, so Colossal Dreadmaw and a land. So if they attack with the frill back, I don't think they can because we'll kill them on the way back, most likely. They are. I'm going to block with the Death Spitter to put them at 8. Alright, Pounce doesn't do much. Unfortunately, I think we have to hold back to block the Dreadmaw because of Trample. None of our other guys get in. See, they're at 8. If we block, or if we attack all, Nope, no, and our opponent has decided they've had enough. Two lands, can't play anything in our hand. I think we have to throw it back. Two lands, still can't play anything in our hand, but I don't think we can throw this one back, so we'll keep it. There's a land. We can play our Dryad and maybe start getting it to work. So let's keep that on top. Alright, we'll play a mountain and pass. Alright, Bat in. Blightkeeper. Sacrifice Blightkeeper, target opponent loses 4, you gain 4. Alright, so there's another land. Let's go ahead and play the Forest and pass. Depending on what our draw is, Blossom Dryad is probably our next play. Yep, we'll take one. What is your next play, opponent? So we have to discard 2. Emergent Growth for sure. And I think the Horncrest. Alright. Let's see, so we play the Dryad, that gets us to 5 mana next turn. Let's do that. We'll take 1. And they had no plays. Alright, so let's commune with nature. Do we want more land? We're already at 5. Let's take the Tuscadon. We'll play a Plains. Cast the Hammerskull. And attack for 2. Alright, so Forerunner of the Coalition. So if they put a Pirate on top, that means they won't draw another land unless they drew one this turn, but that would mean they had the Forerunner in their hand last turn. Okay, so they can put the Captain of the Storm, so it'll create a treasure, and it's a 3-drop they can play. Yep. Alright, so we're going to attack with everything. We're going to play our land, cast the Tuscadon, and hope we're good enough right now. Yep, so that gets them to... They get to drain. They're going to attack to create a treasure. We'll block. Alright, so we'll do 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I don't see any reason not to put them to 2. We'll play our Stone Quarry and see what they got. So they have access to at least 4 mana this turn. If they found a land... So they're going to impale, okay? And then give up because they're going to take 2 no matter what. Alright, well, that was the end of the draft. We went 7 and 2.